chapter number 7 is booking and promotion. And obviously, it's not the most relevant right now with COVID. Most people aren't able to play shows. I feel like it doesn't have the most immediate benefit to know this. But having said that, I think that it's still good stuff to study up on, because one day shows will be back and you're going to want to know this stuff. So might as well study up now so that you can hit the ground running when things start to open back up. There's some really cool stuff here, not just about playing shows, but also doing street performance and how to do that effectively. He says you should establish yourself in your hometown before you hit the road and go touring, which is a really cool idea. His sense of that is, if you don't do the groundwork at home, eventually people worldwide, if you do catch on, people worldwide may not be as interested in you eventually. So you should have your hometown that you can fall back on, which I definitely don't think is a bad idea. And also, I read a long time ago, like, if you can't get traction in your own hometown, what makes you think you'll be able to get traction everywhere else in the world? So it can maybe not seem as exciting to just be in your hometown slogging it out, but I do think it's important. You'll learn how to do it so that it's easier when you go abroad as well. So one of the first things you can do to sort of get known locally is by interacting with like the local gatekeepers. If there's someone who has a blog or a vlog that's fairly popular locally, someone who reviews albums or DJs, stuff like that, just interact with them a little bit online. Drop some comments on their blogs or their vlogs, like their stuff on Instagram, comment every once in a while. You don't want to overdo it, but it's a good way to just sort of grease people up before making the introduction. You don't want to be like every other artist who's just like sends them a 300-word essay with a link to their music at the bottom before ever even saying what's up or giving them any support. So just be aware of that. If this is the route that you want to go in terms of networking, just try and grease people up a little bit before you just dive straight into their DMs. And be a supportive person in your local scene. If you're not playing a show on a Friday night, you should go and see a show. Just be a positive vibe in your city, and it will pay dividends for you. It really will. There's so many people that hate on other people's music, trash on other people's music, and it's generally a jealousy thing in my experience. So don't be scared of other artists. Encourage them, build with them, grow a scene, and make it like a fun environment in your city, and it's going to work out for you better in the long run than just like trying to be king of the hill. Then we go on to talk about different venues and how to get in at a venue and how you should approach developing a relationship with the venue, because I kind of touched on this in my last video, but a lot of artists don't understand that venues are, they're small businesses that need to make a profit, and you really need to think about it as a partnership when you go into working with a venue. Venue owners love music. That's why they run a venue, is because they love live music, but they need to turn a profit, and their best nights are great bar sales, a packed club, and a lineup of acts that they love with no like drama or catastrophes. So remember that when you're getting into business with a local venue. And remember this, it's, it can be tempting to try and like book a show with a big venue in town. Maybe you'll get like stars in your eyes and just imagine yourself on stage at like the big venue in town. But if you convince a booker to like get you that night and you do the show and no one shows up, they're never going to book you again. You're going to sour that relationship because they're going to lose money on that night, and they won't trust you ever again. Don't book until you have a good idea of how many tickets you generally sell, and until you have a good promotional plan ready to rock. How to work your merch at your shows. Now, this is really interesting and something that I never really thought of, but if you're a salesperson or something like that, you know, which you got to start thinking of yourself in terms of sales and how to pitch and how to turn profits. And this is how to work your merch in a way that maximizes the amount of merch that you're going to sell. There's a very big variance in how much merch per head you can average. You know, it can be as low as $1, or in some genres, it can be up to $10 per head. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing that, and he gives some really great tips on how to maximize. So make sure that your display is set up well and looks engaging and everything looks nice. You know, things are nicely folded, and you know, it's, you have a sign or something like that, eye-catching, and make sure everything's organized as well. Pitch your merch on stage in a sort of fun, clever, subtle sort of way. It may seem awkward at first, but get it down, get it smooth, because that's a way that you can speak to the whole audience at once and remind them that there's merch over there. You want to bring in merch sellers to the table because people aren't necessarily going to be able to stay to the end of the show. Once you're all done, you know, you go work the merch table. What you need to do is have someone there while you're playing a set. Maybe someone's really enjoying your set. They got to work early in the morning, so they're dipping halfway through, and they want to support you, but there's no one at the merch table, so they can't buy anything. So always have someone there, whether you just offer someone a free ticket to just hang out at the merch table. Take credit. There's apps you can get on your phone to take it. He says if you have a merch seller at your table and you take credit, you will definitely increase your yearly income. Also, sell quality merch, because it's not just a money maker, it's also a promotional tool. So if someone's walking around with your merch, you want them to look cool. You don't want them to look like it washed one time and then it all fell apart. And stand by the table post show and, you know, shake hands, kiss babies, all that stuff. Until you're really, really popping, you should be doing that and making those connections all the time. This is kind of a fun one and something that I definitely want to get into a little bit more, and maybe has a bit of like a bad reputation, or a lot of people maybe think it's below them, but I think it's really cool to do this. That is street performing. He starts off by saying, nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. It's social proof, so spend the first couple minutes of your set just gathering people around you, so that if you can get like 5-10 people hanging around you, it's automatically gonna bring more people, because people want to see what's going on. So that's something really cool to think about. He says play short sets, like 5 songs, and then go around with a tip jar, because people won't be sticking around for like 10, 15, 20 sets or 20 songs. So you want to keep it short and then walk around with the tip jar, go back, play another 10 songs, go around with the tip jar, you know? This is a cool little tip. Create a $20 merch bundle. Apparently $20 bills are the most commonly in rotation. So if you set up a $20 merch bundle, people will be like, oh, I got $20 right here. It's just a great little, like, quick little thing, you know? He also suggests that you seek more obscure spots as opposed to your city's like most heavily trafficked areas. And like I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this, you got to drop your ego. Some people are going to judge you. You know, some people will probably think you're homeless or poor or whatever. But you can actually make really good money with this. So if you get good at it, drop your ego, and just practice your craft, you can support yourself with this. And it's a great way to practice performing and get ready as you sort of level up. Now, breaking into the festival circuit. He says you should start with local festivals, which I feel like is kind of obvious. The chances are, unless you're really popping or buzzing online, you're not going to get into Coachella. So start with your local festivals. Often festivals start booking the day after their festival wraps up, so that's the time to start outreaching and emailing, is the day after the festival. And just a quick little tip, Music Festival Wizard is a website that has the most complete listings for festivals all over the world. So check that out and find your local festivals and start connecting if that's something that you want to do. And just one last tip before I wrap this one up. This is so cool because I I've played these stages before, and it was a really tough experience for me because I was just playing to an empty field at a festival when I thought it was going to be like a really like fun time, and it ended up being a really tough set because there was no one there. Sometimes you get a like playing early in the day, or you're playing a small stage, or maybe both at a festival. You know, a lot of people are out partying the night before, and they don't want to get up for your 12 o'clock set or whatever. So what you do the night before or the day before is just walk around the festival, print off some postcard size flyers about your set, and just pass them out to people. Be cool about it. Just, shake hands, have conversations, just be a fun person, and pass out these leaflets, and that will draw in an audience for you. And I think that's such a cool way to make the most out of an opportunity, because like I said, I had that opportunity, but I didn't hustle it, and it ended up being a really tough set for me. But if you do it right, it could end up being a lot of fun. So just something to think about. I love the way he kind of makes the most out of every situation and how he approaches his hustle and grind. And that's what you got to do if you're an entrepreneur or you're a musician, or in this case, both. So that's it for booking and promotion. This chapter is really good. Like I said, doesn't necessarily have immediacy, but it's still good stuff to know. So I hope you are enjoying it, and I hope you check it out. And yeah, thanks for listening.